Welcome back, people, to the Roasted Podcast and the very first episode of a new series I'm doing. I'm a huge promoter of Big Boy Season. My co-host is a tall boy and works on the radio. This is Big Boy Radio, an average podcast for the average person. We'll be talking shit about footy, a bit of USA chat, and all the Aussies in American sports over in the States. Doing some entertainment and some movie chat and who knows what else. But let's get into it. My fellow bearded bloke beside me is a multi-talented, universally loved, and that's questionable, the one, the only, Elliott Lovejoy. Elliott, welcome.
I'm actually really pleased you called me tall and not wide, because it's not necessarily the truth. I am very much part of that big boy double XL 110 kilo club for all the wrong reasons. But no, I appreciate you having me on. It's nice to have something to do in the off season.
I'm glad you said that. I didn't want to say, wide. I'm not one to question anyone's wideness, but
fat fuck is fine next
time. Yeah. Okay. We can swear in this. We can do whatever. So, mate, how is the off season treating you? I know you love your American sport. You love a heap of different things, but footy season's over. Tell us a little bit about Elliott, so people can get to know you, who you follow, what you do, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I do a bit of radio through Triple M. That is my 9 to 5, I suppose. But in terms of sporting passion, obviously a big leaguey. Grew up in the Torres Strait, but from Tamworth. So I've always been a Knights fan through all the pain and suffering the last 20 years has given us. But the good thing for me in the non-NRL season is that NFL is American football in general is my favourite sport. So whether it be I will watch two no-name college teams go head-to-head, or I'll watch every game of the NFL if I can. So the off-season just becomes NFL or college season for me. So we've been ripping right into that.
And tell us, I know you follow, and why do you follow them? Why did you jump on them when Tom Brady went there?
No, Tampa Bay Buccaneers since day one, I can tell you that. My auntie, she was a nanny in the States, and when I was 6 or 7, she sent back a whole bunch of shirts, and one of them was a Tampa Bay shirt. This would have been in the late 90s. So I got into a little bit as a young kid, but then I reckon sort of 2006, 7, started getting heavy into it and sat through some awful years where Jameis Winston was throwing more picks and touchdowns, where Mike Glennon was somehow a starting quarterback, where they just could not stop anyone. So to actually support a team that had success in the Buccaneers last year was very strange. I remember sitting there after the Super Bowl. It was probably my favorite sports memory as a fan, sitting there after the Super Bowl, not knowing how to feel, because I was used to supporting, with respect to Newcastle and Tampa and a few others, used to supporting very mediocre professional teams. Like until last year, Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the worst professional sports team in America in terms of record. So when they won that Super Bowl last year, even when we were up 20 points, 2 minutes to go, I still wasn't believing it. It was unbelievable.
Even like when they're taking a knee at the end of the game, you're still like,
oh my God, Tom's going to trip over. It was. For anyone that is trying to get into NFL, just honestly play some Madden or watch some YouTube, try and pick a team and go from there. It's the easiest way to do it.
I do have to bring up, if you are thinking of getting into an NFL team, go follow Elliott, because he's doing a series which is absolutely fantastic, which is basically if you don't have a team in the NFL and you want to follow why this team is appealing, who are some of the celebrity followers, a bit of a background on just individual players and what their role is. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I know when I first started getting into it, one of the things that helped me, a guy said to me, he said, I actually sat down and opened a rule book and just read the rules, because if you sit there and you watch it and you go, why are they doing that? Why? Especially if you're a league fan, you're watching and going, why are they calling that? That shouldn't be. They should be allowed. Blah blah blah. If you sit there and read a rule book and understand the rules, that's going to help you a mile to appreciating the game and loving the game a lot more.
Yeah, but do it in dribs and drabs, because if you try and read everything all in one hit, you'll never watch the game again. Because it can be complex, but I think once you learn, or at least get a basic overview, and you realise every play has such an emphasis on it, I think that's what makes the game special, because a lot of people get put off by the stoppages. But when you realise, okay, every single play, whether it's a run play, a pass play, whatever it might be, has so much importance, then I think you start to understand why it has such a cult following.
And I think one of the worst things is non-followers that want to get into it. One of the very first games they watch is the Super Bowl because it's so hyped and talked
Yeah,
about. They go, "Oh, I'm going to sit and watch the Super Bowl," and drags on because
yeah.
the entertainment they have, the halftime entertainment, they try and drag it out for the views and everything like that. So that's probably one of the worst games you could start to watch the NFL.
Yeah, just honestly going to YouTube, watch maybe even if it's power rankings of players. They do that every year, and you can watch a 50-1 and pick out a couple of players you might like, pick out a couple of jersey concepts you might like, and then
Yep.
start narrowing down.
Also, check out Pat McAfee. His
Brilliant.
YouTube and social media is hilarious and
Yeah,
get you into it.
yeah,
Um, What about let's talk about a little bit of footy. We're both footy mad guys.
yep.
You're a Newcastle fan. I'm a Dragons fan. Let's
Mm.
we are in the off season, but there's plenty happening.
Yep,
One of the first things we'll touch on is just today or yesterday. Brendan Smith's manager has come out and said that they're opening up to all offers from November 1st, which if almost any player should be doing that with the new team coming into the comp in 2023. But
Mm.
let's talk a little bit about the cheese, Brendan Smith. Do you think he had that little bit of an off-season incident? Do you think that will affect his asking
Mm.
price or anything like that,
No.
or is it just he's that quality of a player like Hooker of the Year last year that the teams aren't going to care?
I don't think teams will care, and I don't think. Obviously, you can't encourage what it looked like they were doing, and I don't want to play it down. But in saying that, what they were doing, be it illegal, was in an environment where they weren't out in public, they weren't out going nuts. It could have been a worse story for him, and I don't think them doing that takes away from the character of the human being either. And obviously he's a hard trainer. Obviously he's someone that they love having around at the Storm. I think his asking price. I think someone's going to have to pay good money if they want to get him because obviously he's so versatile. Whether it's the Dolphins throw big cash in him, wherever it'll be. I don't think one incident for him. Even Munster's had a couple of incidents. I don't think that's going to affect his dollar price either.
And it's like you name any club. I was going to say like, oh, which club do you think getting? But pretty much every single club in the league is going to be going after him. And the Storm said they're not giving him up without a fight.
Yeah.
So they're going to be trying to push they'll be pushing his price up as well. So you got the Titans, you've got the Warriors, all these clubs that have been talking about wanting to get him in. I think the Roosters approached him in the middle of last year, or signaled that they wanted to approach him. And then you've got Redcliffe in 2023. So it's like it's just going to be a feeding frenzy come November 1st for these quality of players. And who knows where he's going to go.
Well, I know that, and who knows what's true, right? But there's conversations of Reed Marnie having an asking price if he's going to go to somewhere like Brisbane of around 800. With all respect to Reed, he doesn't have the versatility that Brandon has, and I think Brandon's just as good a 9, if not better, than Reed is. So, could he be $1 million man? I don't know.
It'll be very interesting. And the salary cap's gone down from what it was, a couple of years ago. So in saying that, there's still going to be $1 million players that are going to be signed. So it's going to be crazy. I think November 1st this year is going to be one of the craziest starts to that signing season that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Moving on. So we've got a bit of boxing chat within the NRL. We've got Josh Olay, or as Peter Volandis calls him, Oshay Olay, going up against Paul. That was one of the worst gaps I've ever seen. But
Throw to the keeper. Yeah.
Paul Gallen, they're planning to fight, I think, December, early December. Contracts have been thrown back and forth. Apparently, Alloy has signed it. Gallen's coming out saying he's asking for 2-minute rounds over 4 rounds and all these different things. A bit of banter back and forth. What do you think about the fight overall? Do you think it's a good matchup for Paul Gallen? Do you think taking on a relative newcomer to boxing, he hasn't had a professional fight, but he's done a lot of boxing in the background. Do you think it's a bit of a step backward for him?
Yeah, and I mean that with respect to Josh, but purely in the terms of names that he's fought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, Gal's going to get a good payday out of any of it. The hype and bravado is starting to get a little bit less believable than it was with some of the other fights, though. Some of the vids that Gallen's putting out, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, someone actually inboxed me yesterday saying this is the same story with Gallen every fight. It's someone arguing over the rounds and the length of the rounds, and it is like you're saying, getting a bit tedious.
And Josh Alloy, geez, I mean, good for him. I'd be going hell for leather too. That you build your personal brand, and obviously it's a bit of an earn on the side too. But I was reading somewhere that apparently if Josh couldn't fight, he was offering Joey Leilua a fight, who doesn't have any boxing experience. So I think Gal, and I think we'd all do the same thing. Gal is looking for a payday, which I can understand. He's had those massive fights now. I don't think he'll ever have another huge name unless for some reason they manage to convince Sonny Bill to do it one day. I'm not. I wish I was excited about this one. I'm not. To be honest, happy for Josh. Hope he gets a good payday from it. Hope he wins. But yeah, I don't even know if I'll watch it, to be honest.
I love it because it's extra rugby league content in the off season. So I will get behind it. But you're saying about Sonny Bill, like I think it's going to be like they're going to be 40 or something when they eventually fight.
I don't think it'll happen. Because he did his book release the other day, and even reading that, and Sonny Bill's a guy I'd love to meet because he seems like, obviously, we all grow up as assholes as young kids, but he's grown up to seems like a tremendous bloke. But he just seems so at peace with everything. I could be very wrong, and I hope I am. I'd love to see the fight, but I can't see it happening when they get it on.
It's so funny, like the way he talks, and he's so respectful in every way now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how is this guy a boxer that just wants to punch people's heads in? It's amazing that the way he is, the way he's natured.
He's been very, and obviously he found a religion too that suited him, and he's found a way really to separate Sonny Bill the person to Sonny Bill the athlete, which is we all try to do that in all aspects of our life. Be it you want to be who you are at work, but you also want to separate that from your home life, that kind of thing too. So yeah, you can only respect that.
Moving on to back to your local club, the Newcastle Knights. Mitchell Pearce. Yep. Talk of him being offered a contract to go over to France for 3 years for the Catalan Dragons, who are looking to replace James Maloney. Now, first of all, do you think he'll go?
Yeah, I do. I'd like to keep him for one more season because I really liked what I saw when him and Cliff were on the field last year, and Clifford's kicking game and running game takes a bit of pressure off Mitch as well. And I don't think, I know we've signed Adam Clune from the Dragons as a decent backup. There was talk of Luke Brooks. That won't happen. But I'd love to keep him for one more year and give, a bloke like Phoenix Crosland or whoever it is, just another year in Reggie's just to prepare himself to be hopefully a first grade footballer. The other conversation is, okay, if Mitch goes, and by the way, I would, as a fan, totally understand. You got to earn your cash, and he's at the back end of his career. Absolutely.
I think he's 33 at the start of next season. So
yeah, earn your cash, and also what an experience to play over there.
Yep.
So I totally understand that. As a fan, worry because Pearce, whilst his legs aren't quite as fast as they once were, is still a very good controller of the game. And Newcastle fans can be very fickle, as all clubs can. But like to complain about his kicking game because of his end-over-end bombs. What they don't understand is that he's one of the best at pinning teams in the corners and making them work their way out. So I would severely miss him if he leaves. But again, you got to earn your coin, and fuck knows who comes into that 7 jersey. I really don't know if Ponga goes to 6 and Texoy goes to 1 and Clifford goes to 7. There's a whole bunch of things in the air there.
One of the names you mentioned, Phoenix Crosland, I sort of watched. I had a friend who's close with the family, and sort of started watching him earlier. But he's not signed for 2022 with the Knights.
I think they've got a verbal. I could be very wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, as I understand, he will be coming back. But again, I have been wrong many times before.
Yeah, it's just interesting, because he is a great young player. He's represented New South Wales in the juniors. He's very. He just wants to play. He seems like a football player, not a specific half or anything.
Works his bum off.
Well, yeah, might not be the most. I believe he is talented, but he's the type of player that probably thinks I'm not as talented as some of these other big names, so I've got to work just that extra bit harder. And
Tyson Gamble probably.
Yeah, exactly. So I do hope they get him in, and whether it's a verbal and they're just waiting to see what happens.
Simi Sasangi, I've probably butchered the name and I apologize, but he came on, he played a game at the centres against the Cows. He mainly plays at 6, played in the centres a bit in Reggie's, but he's another one they're looking at. And I think they're like, geez, we want to put him in the team. We just don't know where. So whether he fits in there, I'm not sure. But I'd be surprised with that offer on the table if Mitch didn't leave. And the way that Adam O'Brien operates, he's not an arsehole. If he thinks it's the right thing for Mitch, I'm sure he'll let him go.
Yep. That'll wrap up a little bit of the footy chat. We don't want to talk too much. There is going to be plenty coming in the off season, so we'll just limit it to a few things. But I want to catch up with some of the Aussies that are overseas in the US sports. Let's kick it off with Paddy Mills. He has been he carved up these first 2 games. Didn't go too well in the third, but first 2 games he sunk 10 from 10 from 3-point line. First player in the NBA ever to do it. So we've got that that record. So I think it's first player to ever go perfect from the first 10 shots in 2 games. So got that record. He's carving up. We've got Josh Giddey going over there. He's had a great start to his career. You keeping your eye on some of these Aussies over there, Elliot?
Yeah, we had a yarn with Warwick Giddey, Josh's dad, the other day, who played nearly 500 NBL games, I think it was. And he's a ripping fella. And it was so interesting to hear his take on, hey, like Josh is 19. Yeah. He's never lived out of home. All of a sudden, he's in the States. He said he's got someone that almost is a live-in, iron the clothes, make the food, that kind of thing, because he's adjusting to life as an adult. He's still a kid. I watched Giddey that first game. I'm a Jazz fan, so I watched him against Utah, who are arguably, a top 3 team this year. Held his own, and then what did he drop yesterday? Sort of 19, 8 boards, couple of assists.
Yeah, and a couple of steals as well.
Yeah, and an OKC team that isn't necessarily expected to do a great deal. So he's going to get a lot of game time. I've loved Joe Ingles for the longest time. And it's just so nice to see an Aussie talent. I always felt bad for Dante Exum because he was expected to be that next big thing. He had so many injuries, unfortunately. Hopefully Giddey, can block out the background noise and can go on to succeed.
There's going to be a lot of chat about him over this season because like you said, he is in a team that is going to struggle. So he's going to be playing plenty of minutes. He's going to be putting up I think he's going to be putting up some really good numbers. And I think if you look at the end of the year with Rookie of the Year, he's going to be up there contending for it. So he just seems to he has that Aussie toughness. He wants to play. He's very. I think he's mentally strong. Considering he is so young.
Yeah, well, I think having your dad being a professional and a true professional too would certainly help with the mental side of it, with the mindset side of it. So I reckon Warwick has probably played a huge part in. Yeah, he might be 19, but no one would even think that. When they said he was 19 going over, I didn't believe it. After watching him with 36ers last year, you're right. He's pretty mature. So
yeah. Moving on to another Aussie that's currently not playing in the NBA, and that is Ben Simmons. I'll just give a quick take. Like I spoke with a guy a few beers the other day, and we're just like, what he seems to be doing. I know that there's talk of mental issues and things like that, and a lot of stuff he's been through. I don't want to touch on that, but what it feels to me is it's not in the Australian spirit. Basically, we love to see Aussies, no matter what, just go out and compete as hard as they can. You look at the guys in the NBA, like we've just spoken about, Paddy Mills, Joe Ingles, Josh Giddey. They just want to fight. It just seems like he's almost giving up. He doesn't want to fight. Like, instead of coming out and going, you know what, you've said some stuff about me, I'm just going to come out and prove you wrong. It seems like he's sort of going back into his shell. Like, what's your take on the whole Ben Simmons situation?
It's tough, isn't it? Because if there's genuine mental health issues, then I'm never going to tear a bloke apart for that, or anyone, because I know that, when people suffer with that kind of stuff, it's hard enough to roll out of bed, let alone turn up to basketball training.
Yep.
But if the side of it is that he purely doesn't want to play in Philly, he's not going the right way around his trade stocks being up there. I mean, at the end of the day, at the moment, which side genuinely wants to take him if his attitude is the way it's portrayed? I watched Embiid for the 76ers I think it was the end of one of their games the other night, that said, hey, Philly fans, welcome back. Just want you to get behind our brother, Ben Simmons. And considering it is well documented, Embiid and Simmons don't get along, I thought that was a pretty classy touch. It's so hard to know when you're not in the know. But again, if this is purely he doesn't want to play in Philly thing, it is a shit look. You turn up to your job and you do your job, right? we've all worked in jobs we don't like. It doesn't mean you stop turning up. Yes, you might be looking elsewhere, but you still got to put in everything you got while you're there.
you see the scouting report that got shown around?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
that was what 5 years ago or something like that, and it's
Was
sort
that his
of
college coach?
yeah, that was his college
Yeah.
coach, and basically spot on. Like he sort of needs someone around him to say he's doing a good job and talk him up, and yeah, it was just amazing that you look back on that and you go, holy shit, that's spot on. So
Yeah, it's and obviously he's a basketball of which we haven't seen the mold of, to not have a jumper, or to not have a three, but still be considered elite because he does the other sides of the game so well.
yeah.
He's going to have to fit a very specific scheme, and there's probably only a handful of teams that might genuinely look at him. There's all this talk about Portland, but who knows? Portland seem pretty content to get to the playoffs and lose in the first round every year, so who knows?
I'm still amazed a boxing talent and someone that won Rookie of the Year and getting paid so much money doesn't have some of those simple skills that of a baseball player, like a jump shot, a 3-pointer. Like, how do you get along so long without these simple things? I don't understand it, but.
And I mean, it's not like people say he's not working on it. I think he was doing a lot of work on them. It's just, not something that is a skill for him. And you know what? The fact that he's managed to hone the other sides
So well. Yeah.
Yeah, then, you got to tip your cap there. But yeah, it's a fascinating saga.
Let's move on to some NFL. There's a few Aussie boys over in the NFL doing it well. Your team, 6-1. And
6-1 for the first time in history.
There you go. And Tom Brady throwing 600 touchdowns yesterday.
Roughly. Yep.
I
thought you meant in a game.
Sorry, yeah, in a game, yeah. That would be amazing. Now I think he threw about 4 in the game.
Yesterday, yeah.
I think his third one was the 600th. You see, Mike Evans went and gave it to the fan, and the fan gave it back. Apparently, he switched it over for another game ball, $1,000 gift voucher, a signed jersey, or 2 jerseys, yeah. But someone said that total might have been like, $10,000 or something. Whereas if he held on the ball, its estimated value was $500,000.
Yeah. It's.
I feel bad for the fan.
What do you do? What do you do when they come over saying, "Hey, Tom wants his ball back"?
Well, it's Tom.
You're not gonna say no. Yeah.
No, it's I think he might have been felt a bit of pressure to hand it over,
absolutely.
and it's sort of a bit unfair. Like, oh, geez, I don't want to be the bad guy here, but imagine if he walked out and then all of a sudden he get rolled for it, and there would have been issues going on. But either way, he gave it back, and my Packers, after a blowout loss in the first week, are now 6-1 alongside you guys. Yeah. Going great guns, although very sad at the end of the season, we'll probably be losing Aaron Rodgers, number 12, but I'll enjoy it while we can. But let's jump on to the Aussie guys in the NFL. We've got the Philly boys going okay. Individually,
Mailata's playing well.
He is, yeah. And for a team sport, you can pick out the individuals and go like they're having great seasons despite their team not going to. I think they're 3-4, but
2-5.
2-5. There you go. And but Mailata's going well, and Aaron Sippis, the punter, he's going great guns. Like, I've seen a few of his punts. Like, when they're in trouble, he's putting them down in the 20 yard, under the 20-yard line. So they're going well. Who else you got your eye on or you talk about them?
Yeah, on Mailata, just quickly, he's had a hell of a job because, I mean, he's drafted in the 7th round. He's got no experience of the game until the last few years. It's not like he was playing a lot of college ball, that kind of thing. He gets drafted, he learns guard, and then he's playing at right tackle. He gets shifted to left tackle because of injuries and back to right tackle. He's allowing, I think, the least amount of pressures on that line. His stats are way up there with the top tackles in the league. And what people that watch the game a lot will understand is that Jalen Hurts is their current quarterback. I don't know how long he's going to last, but when you've got a pocket quarterback, so someone like, say, Tom Brady, or for the most part, Aaron Rodgers, very little will they move outside of the pocket where they're running all over the field, where your protection is all over the place. And you got someone like Jalen Hurts, who they call a dual threat. So he can throw a bit, but he likes to run. that makes the tackles job 10 times harder because there's so much more movement.
Yep.
And my lad, I've tried to watch as close as I can. I watch a lot of Philly games, which is difficult. Has been a stud. He's picked up the game incredibly well, and I know he's got a good payday from it. He did a great job against the Tampa front the other day. Allowed minimal pressures there, and they got guys like Shaq Barrett on the edge. I'm so happy to watch an Aussie succeed in a genuine position. It's always nice to see the punters, and we have a lot of good punters, but offensive line is a very thankless gig, and he's going great guns.
We've had it like obviously a couple, especially in the NRL, guys go over and try and be a running back or a wide receiver or something like that. Do you think we're ever going to get, it'll take a player to go over in college to make a running back? Do you think we're ever going to see a player from league really make it big time in that position, in one of those sort of big positions?
Yeah, I don't think we'll see leagueies make many successful transitions because I think Mailata is an exception to the rule where he has picked up things so quickly. The best thing that they're doing with young kids, I'm talking 15, 16, 17-year-olds that are growing up playing either flag football or gridiron at a local level, is they're sending over a lot of tape to the States now. So we have got more of a pathway for someone to pick up and take a chance on a kid. I'd love to see, and I know we will see because the game is growing and the interest in the game is growing over here. I'd love to see an Aussie kid playing on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Imagine having an Aussie quarterback on the NFL. I mean, that's the dream.
It's harder when you have guys like Mailata go over there. They don't get talked about during the game, or very rarely, as much as like a quarterback or a running back.
Get talked about their mistakes on offensive line, and that's it.
Yeah. So, for us to like some of the casuals or the people that don't watch it to really get an interest and take more interest into it, is to have that player in that position getting talked about, getting hyped up. But
you know what you should do, because you're the big whiz behind this stuff. You should put together an NRL NFL
lineup.
Team. So an offense of who you think would succeed, who you think would be the quarterback, whether it's a Nathan Cleary or someone like that.
You almost automatically go and like Nathan Cleary or a halfback, don't you? Because they're the organizer of the team. But you need a big body. Like Nathan Cleary probably would be perfect, but it's going to take them to. I'd love to see where you are in up there. Have they got an NFL team? Oh, not an NFL team, a gridiron team.
Yeah. I'm playing from the mighty Cairns Falcons. So we got 2 Cairns sides, and we compete against Townsville and Mackay, as well as obviously the other Cairns team. So we're going to Townsville Saturday to play.
So what is it? A 4-team league?
4-team league this year. Yeah, I think Rocky was in it in the past. But yeah, we travel to Townsville on Saturday. We play against the Townsville Cyclones at 3:30.
You're gonna have to get us some inside video here. Like,
I think they're all streams. It's NQ Gridiron or something like that. So you can see me getting barreled over and doing a terrible job. So
I'm gonna say you're an offensive lineman, are you?
Yeah, I am.
You are. What are you?
Playing at left tackle this weekend.
There you go. Get you under center. Get you throwing the ball.
No, I'm shit out of that. My balance is no good. So tried a bit at tight end. It's a lot of running and a lot of blocking and a lot of mix of everything. I think I'll just sit at tackle.
There's some other NFL, Aussie guys over in the NFL. We've got Mitch Wisniewski. Hopefully I pronounced that right, 49ers. Yep. And Michael Dixon. I posted up a video of him with the pickup. You know what? It was funny. Like, so many people come in and go, "Oh, I see that in under 8s," and you're like, "Yeah," but in the NFL, like they just don't do this sort of stuff. So the fact that he picked it up one-handed and still got a great kick off or punt, it was just magnificent to watch. Is there any
scoop?
The scoop, yeah.
Honestly, any dummy half would be proud of that scoop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have I missed any? Is there any other Aussies over there doing some stuff?
There's a bloke at the Texans that's punting, and he's punting a lot because the Texans fucking stink. They've got a guy playing quarterback that would not start at quarterback in college anymore, and that's because of a situation they have with a guy called Deshaun Watson. We don't need to go into.
No, we'll leave that one straight through the keeper.
Yeah, we'll leave that one alone. I forget his name. Big bald bloke. I think he probably had hair start of the season before he started having to punt for Houston. We've got a couple other punters there. We had another position player at Pittsburgh, but the name is eluded me at the moment. But I'll try and bring it next time.
And I think next time we might bring up some of the guys in the college. There's a couple of guys in the college system, so we'll touch on them. But let's finish off with a bit of movies, bit of entertainment chat.
Yeah.
I saw that you just finished The Sopranos. You were on the last episode there the other night. You
only 20 years late.
Yeah. But tell me, what did you think of the season? What did you think of the whole series overall? Because the reason we're talking about this, and I'm guessing the reason that you watched it is for the movie that's coming out, The Many Saints of Newark. Is that right?
I didn't even know there was a movie coming out until about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So you just got onto The Sopranos just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I got a few mates had been watching it, and same boat as me, just missed it at the time it came out. And I just caught up on, because it's all on Foxtel, one of them, and 6 seasons, and it was 3.5 months of my life. And it was an incredible show. It does blur the line for me of what is right and what is wrong. And then it goes into the last episode. I don't know how much I can give away there, but it was an interesting ending to what was an amazing show.
When I first started watching it, I was working in a pub, and it was on Thursday nights at 9:30, and I got through about 3 seasons, and then I started working like late shift on a Thursday night, and so I'd set the tape and try and record it, and miss a few episodes here and there, and then I just sort of lost a little bit of interest because you lose those episodes. You don't want to watch too much of it, and this is back in the day for all the young people out there when you had to actually wait a whole week to watch an episode of a TV show, and there was a build up to it. There was an excitement to watch that next episode. And I lost that, and I was like, I'll go back and buy a DVD or whatever, and I never ended up getting around to it. So I only ever got through about 3.5 seasons, and then the ending got ruined for me. And then I started YouTubing old clips, and now my algorithm on my YouTube, if I open it up, it's about 4 or 5 lines of Sopranos. I'll just go back and watch the killing of X person or this funny scene in Sopranos, and I'll sit there and watch like about an hour of Sopranos videos from all these different seasons. I'm like, I think I need to sit back, and because I got hyped up with the trailer of The Many Saints, so I was like, do I go back and watch it? It is a huge commitment. An hour.
It's his actual son, isn't it? Like the guy that played Tony.
So James Gandolfini. I hope I'm saying his right. Gandolfini. His son in real life plays his younger self, so he plays Tony Soprano as a kid, and it shows how he came from being this kid to being the mob boss of the Sopranos. So I think I will. It's just such a huge commitment to go back, and I need to sit and watch an hour episode of 6 seasons because I can't just start in season 3 again. I've got to start from the beginning.
You got to go from the beginning. What is great is that obviously the last few seasons you do fall in love with Meadow Soprano, which is a lovely fictional relationship you'll get into. And now I want to rewatch Entourage because she was in that. Also, obviously you've been told this, I'm sure, you are a dead ringer for Turtle in Entourage.
Yes. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm Turtle season 1. That's me.
Isn't that Fat Turtle?
Yeah, that's Fat Turtle. I'm Fat Turtle.
You're like season 4 or 5.
But that another great show, Entourage. I've seen that like 3 times all the way through, and I follow Doug Ellen on Instagram. He has Victory the podcast with Kevin Dillon, and mate, it is absolutely brilliant. They just they're just talking to random people. He is such a good fellow. He'll interact with people in the comment section as well. And there's all this talk of, I think Jeremy Piven wants to bring back, whether it's a spin-off with Ari Gold, because Ari Gold is hands down one of the best TV characters ever.
Yeah, I concur, and Entourage also taught me who Sasha Grey is, and I'll be very thankful for that as well. So
but that arc as well with Meadow Soprano, or what's I don't even know her real life name, but she plays herself in the show as a love interest to Turtle. That was like that was good. That brought out the Turtle character. Yeah, I love that show. I'll probably end up sitting watching it again now. Thanks for that.
I'm gonna rewatch it now. I know that who she is and that kind of thing. So.
I want to finish off on a hypothetical with a sports comedy, a little bit of fun, a little bit of let's push it here. Sports comedies head to head. Now I put up a thing, got talking about some sports movies. Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore, I think is the GOAT movie in regards to sports comedies. And then I put up like which Adam Sandler one would you rate is the best. Happy Gilmore won that by a mile. I think it was Waterboy might have been second, then The Longest Yard. And then I did Will Ferrell. He had 4 sports comedy movies, which was Kicking and Screaming, Blades of Glory, Talladega Nights, and Semi-Pro. And got voting on that. Talladega Nights won that by a mile. But I want to put it to you, if you could only watch one of those guys' sports comedy movies for the rest of your life and you had to eliminate the other, who are you picking? You've got Adam Sandler. He has Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy, and The Longest Yard. And you have Will Ferrell. He has Talladega Nights, Semi-Pro, Kicking and Screaming, and Blades of Glory.
I think I'll go Will because Waterboy was fine. What was the other one you said? The Adam Sandler?
The Longest Yard, yep.
Longest Yard was okay. I think there's a little bit more depth to the Will Ferrell comedy, only slightly. But eliminating Happy Gilmore altogether hurts me. I was thinking when you put this up the other day, I couldn't believe no one had. What was the Billy Bob Thornton one? Bad News Bears.
Oh yeah, yep.
Film about a drunk coach.
Yeah, yep.
So good. And Billy Bob is just a badass.
They remake that?
I hope they did because I'll go and watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
But out of Will and Adam, I'll have to go Will Ferrell because Blades of Glory, fantastic. Talladega Nights, very good. Kicking and Screaming, Semi-Pro, both good as well. So
I had that same argument that there's more variety with Will Ferrell in regards to his and sort of. I go The Longest Yard. It's a remake. Can't believe people were talking it up so much when I put up saying Happy Gilmore was a sports comedy goat movie, and they're like, "What about Longest Yard? What about?" And I'm like, "Longest Yard was a remake, so automatically it gets voted down." But for me, I've got to go Adam Sandler. I can't think of a world where I can't watch Happy Gilmore. Every time it comes on Foxtel or whatever, I'm sitting there. I annoy the missus because I'm like, no, sorry, I've got to watch it. I can't let it go. It's just
so one movie outweighs 4 relatively good ones.
Well, no, so I do get Waterboy as well. So I'm happy. Waterboy has so many great quotes.
It doesn't need to have that terrible, annoying voice.
It doesn't, but it's still funny.
No.
And The Longest Yard, I can accept that. Where I look at Will Ferrell, he does have variety, but I can't tell you that I've probably watched Kicking and Screaming maybe once.
Yep.
Blades of Glory a couple of times, and it's probably up there as with Will Ferrell in comedy. But for me, Talladega Nights is one of the best. I would put it at probably number 2. I'd go Happy Gilmore, Talladega Nights, then probably go back to Adam Sandler. But Semi-Pro's up there as well. But for me, I think I can't get rid of Happy Gilmore. I've got to keep it.
You got to do your...
Sorry, mate. Going against you.
That's fine. That's what this is all about.
I might. We'll put it up. I think I'll ask the fans as well. We'll put it up and say, you're on one side, I'm on the other. Yep. Let's see who wins, and we'll talk about it next time.
And you'll skew the votes to yourself.
Of course. Well, hey, I'll put the copy of the caption just to slightly favour my point of view, obviously.
Elliott to fuck with, but who do you think's correct?
Mate, thank you very much. I think that was a fabulous first episode. I enjoyed the chat with you. I look forward to it next week. Tell us, what do you got on for the weekend or this week?
We're going to Townsville.
Get the W.
Beat the pants off them, hopefully.
Hey, actually, one thing I wanted to really quickly bring up was the Panthers recreated Tom Brady and the Gronk's viral video. Did you see that? They did it at the Patriots first, then they recreated it at the Buccaneers. But what do you think? Because so many people were saying it was cringe, they didn't like it, they were recreating. I'm like, I thought it was pretty cool.
I think people don't like it when opposition teams have fun.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people have issues with, especially Penrith became all of a sudden a team that everyone decided to hate for whatever reason. I mean, even I'll speak to family members, and most of my family is actually from Queensland, and all of a sudden they hate Nathan Cleary, and I think it's because he played halfback for the Blues. I'm pretty sure that's it, because I'm like, how do you hate the guy? He does nothing on the field that screams anything, not to like about him. Off the field, he had a TikTok dance drama. Fuck me dead. So I think people just like to hate, and I think that is the beauty of rugby league and professional sports, is that you will have some incredible fans that you will engage with and that you will have some great discussions with, and then you have the drongos, of which I'd say there's a good 30 to 40%. who are people that like to shout down anyone trying to have fun.
There's just too many people that want to just take away the fun in
Oh,
and the
yeah, not allowed to have
entertainment in
fun
sport.
Not
I
allowed
loved
to
it. I loved it. I thought they're copying that. I don't think they were trying to be original in any way. It was like, hey, do you want to try and recreate that video? Fuck yeah. And I think it's like showing their appreciation for sport worldwide, and the fact that they got shut down for it from fans is just ridiculous. I want to see more of it. But because I think what it'll lead to is it'll lead to them creating something for themselves. That they'll put it out there, everyone will go, that's cool, I love that. They'll see those comments and they go, right, okay, cool, I want to do something and create something different. Where there's so many like cliched answers, yes, no, yes, sir, no, sir, thanks, full credit to the boys, all that sort of stuff. It's very cliched, and I think these guys coming out and being a bit of a larrikin, like you said, people just want to hate, but I think it's going to create, hopefully next year when, teams start winning and getting on a bit of a roll, they can start doing this a little bit more and entertaining us off the field as much as they do on.
Yeah, I mean, the game needs more characters.
Yeah.
And I mean, I will sit there after a game if I can see that, Jerome Luai and Brian To'o are going to be doing the interview with Fox or whoever it might be. You know what I mean?
I guarantee when that game ends, that is like I'm fixated to the TV screen waiting for interviews. Who are they interviewing?
Yeah.
And like sometimes I won't say any players individually, but you go, oh, that's this player. Okay, well, I won't worry too much. They're sort of generic. But like you said, if it's Jerome Luai and Brendan Smith and Brian Tyle, you're like, okay, waiting for them to do something stupid.
Yeah.
Well, not stupid, something funny, like, just entertaining.
Credit to the boys down to the wire. Yeah, great conversations. And if that's the way that, there's been so many players that have been scorned by media that I understand people that give one or two answers. I can absolutely understand it. But I live for the characters that are willing to give the fans just a little bit more. And if you're going to knock some blokes because they did a Brady Gronk video because they're having fun, then I think there's probably more going on in your world than there is theirs in terms of problems. So,
mate, good luck on the weekend. Eat that W.
W.
Yeah, and make sure that the quarterback does not get sacked. If he gets sacked...
He will. No, he's getting sacked. No. And he's, Chris, his name is good fella. Quick ego check. I'll let him get through a couple of times.
You walk out and say, good luck today. You're probably going to get sacked like 5 times.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, you're on your own, mate. I'm just running outfield. I'm a target now.
Give me the ball. I'm open. All right, mate. Good luck and all the best. We'll talk again next week. See you. Thanks to all the fans for watching and listening in, and we'll talk soon.